Hey everyone, Austin Schneider here. Welcome to Rise Podcast, where we talk about real influence, self-development, and entrepreneurship. Hey everyone, super excited about this recent interview with David Meltzer. David Meltzer is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing. He's a best-selling author. He hosts an amazing podcast, and his mission is to impact the lives of 1 billion people. I was fortunate to have a 30-minute conversation to tap into a little bit more about him, his routines, and what he does to make himself so successful. So check it out. This is going to be good. Well, David, man, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. I've heard such great things about you, the show. I appreciate being on here.
Yeah, man. And really, just want to ping with a couple questions. One, I hear you on all my favorite podcasts, and you just are a great speaker, and beyond that, a great human, it seems like. So thank you again for just spending some time with me, and looking forward to seeing what I can get from you in this 30 minutes. So
I'm excited. Let's delve deep, my friend. I'm excited.
Come on. Well, I guess the first thing that you say a lot, which reigns true with me, is one thing when I was going in business and just trying to pursue excellence and success or whatever, was, the importance of a morning routine, a religious morning routine. You'd see people say the secret to success is a morning routine. 5 a.m. you wake up here, you do this. Talk about, maybe in like 30 seconds, yours, and then why a morning routine.
Yeah, well, my routine starts today. So my tomorrow starts today. I started at 9 p.m. And it's not that I wake up at 9 p.m. It's I unwind at 9 p.m. so I can wake up at 4 a.m., transcending through meditation all the power that I get from putting my body, mind, and soul in the position to receive while I'm sleeping. Then at 4 a.m., instead of starting the day at the very bottom and working my way up to the top and resetting the next day, I plateau and grow. So for me, a morning routine is starting at 9 p.m. by unwinding, then effectuating that 4 a.m. non-time. And what I call 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. non-time, it has the least amount of energy resisting us, as well as the least amount of expectations resisting us. So the time and the routine of waking up and going to bed in a certain manner are, I think, crucial to being successful.
So good. And then what's the morning routine like for you?
So when I do wake up at 4, I meditate for 20 minutes, 10 minutes to get ready, minimum of an hour of working out. Then I come back. I spend about an hour to an hour and a half doing research. Then I spend an hour and a half with the family off the grid. Then I execute from that research. Part of it's being a student of my calendar. So I execute on, with the lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, the activity I have planned, I don't have planned, and of course, my unwinding routine, my sleep. And so I execute on that from about 8 o'clock until 4:45, and then I do coaching calls, and then I go off the grid again for an hour and a half. I do research for an hour and a half. Then I do family time until 9 p.m., and then I have my unwinding routine, no caffeine, alcohol, drugs, no negative energy, no negative ideas, putting myself into a higher position to plateau and grow for the next day and the next routine. One other key element, I have an adaptable routine, which everyone should have 2 routines. If you're planning on executing on what you have planned, God will laugh at you and make a joke of your plan. So have an adaptable routine that's based off of your non-negotiables. So when the in-laws come into town, or you're hungover from a bachelor party, or some other things happen, you'll be prepared to at least get the non-negotiables done during the day, which for me is minimum of an hour working out, minimum amount of time with my family, minimum of time being a student in my calendar to execute on as much as I can and prioritize it effectively.
Yeah, that's so good, man. And I think one thing I like the adaptability because it puts a little bit of less pressure on the whole routine, because what you just said was a little overwhelming and probably could be a little overwhelming to many. One thing that you alluded to that I want to sit on is meditation. I think personally for me, it's been something that I've tried to do. It's been something that I've tried to get in a rhythm of doing. I think my meditation really comes from running, from exercise, and kind of getting in my own flow state, if you would. What is your meditation routine, and what is that like for you? For your at your caliber, really?
Yeah, I was number one, a resistant person to meditation. I didn't understand it. When I tried it at a younger age, it didn't make sense to me. I was looking for something that wasn't there. So meditation for me is just a quiet time. It's the practice of being quiet and raising my awareness. So I use a technique called theta, Theta meditation. And theta meditation allows me to elevate my frequency, my vibration, since we only can be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than us. We want to elevate our vibration, our minds, our bodies, our souls, our cellular vibration, our mental vibrations, our thoughts, as well as our quantum being, our DNA. You actually can elevate the vibration to raise our awareness so things become simple, they become more efficient, effective. Remember, the speed of thought moves faster than the speed of light. So if you can be aware and train the speed of thought with focus and refocus, you actually can effectuate more with time than anybody else because the thoughts actually move faster than time.
So good. So good, man. Thank you for that. So I've listened to you on a lot of podcasts, and I'm inspired by your story in many ways. I think early on, you talked about the story of you making all this money but being empty. And I think so many people, especially me, I'm an achiever. I naturally want to achieve, and it seems like you're wired very similarly, where you're really good at what you do, and you have that Meltzer effect, I think is what you call it. But at some point you were empty. What was that common denominator of what caused it? Like, was it ego? Was it like, what was causing the emptiness when on the outside you seemed so full?
Well, it was ego for sure. It was not understanding that I already had everything I wanted and that my vision or free will could be utilized not to go get more, but instead to clear the interference between me and what I already had. So if it was my health, what was I doing to interfere with my health? If it was my wealth, what am I doing to interfere with my wealth? Was it my happiness? What was I doing to interfere? And ego defined primal and secondary ego. The primal Freudian ego is obvious, the most feed, flight, F word, and fight. But more importantly, the secondary ego, the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, any of these needs of the ego. So for me, I started looking at it and saying, one, there's three worlds, three mindsets, and I have complete control of my mindset. The first is a world of not enough. And when the ego takes over, you're in the world of to me, you're a victim. Everything's happening to you. Your blame, shame, justification, all ego. You're in a scarce world of not enough. Then there's the world of just enough, also a scarce world. This is a world where I lived when I was a multimillionaire, buying things to be happy, buying more things to be happy, buying different things to be happy, buying things I didn't need to be happy, buying things to impress people to be happy, buying things to impress people I didn't even like to be happy. That's the world of just enough. But when I shifted my paradigm to using my free will to clear what was already mine, to clear the interference, to have faith beyond the hard work, beyond all the different things that I had learned, situational knowledge, dummy text, relationship capital, beyond all that lied one thing, faith that I'd end up somewhere better by living in a world of more than enough of everything. When you have faith that there's more than enough and everything comes through you with appreciation, meaning you add value to it to give it away, you realize that you're connected to everything and everyone. This is the flow. This is the light, the love, and the lessons, the power. When you see mountains, you don't worry about going over it, under it, through it, around it. You realize that you walk with, and that which made the mountain is within you. And there is no fear, no ego, no interference. And you continually to accelerate, grow, and expand with everything that you want rapidly and accurately.
Man, so good. So what, I mean, ego is a hard thing to crack, I think. It's a hard thing to really shift. What was that shift for you? Like, what was the spark that was, hey, I need to figure this out?
Yeah, for me, it was time. See, like, number one, once I got over the idea that I could get rid of my ego. And so for me, once my wife and my best friend and my dad over about a 10-year period had convinced me that I was lost. And when my wife told me she was going to leave me, and I better take stock in who I was, I decided that I was going to spend minutes and moments in ego. No more days, weeks, months, and years ruining my life with all of those needs that we talked about. I was going to live in abundance. I was going to be of service. I was going to wake up every morning, pray to God for at least 10 people I could help. I was going to use the gifts and the skills and knowledge and capabilities that I've been given with the desire that I had to help people make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. In other words, I was going to empower over 1 billion people in my life, create a collective consciousness of happiness, abundance, of more than enough.
Yeah. And I think that's such a paramount thing to double click on is the invalidity of ego and how it can affect so much of your life. So what would you say to someone who battles with, because I think everybody battles with, egotistical, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think especially as achievers, you have social media, you have the comparison, you have the achieving mindset. What's a practical way to just say, hey, like, dude, it's not about you at the end of the day? What's your kind of go-to?
I'm like you, I'm a very pragmatic person. So I love to give people just step by step. I have 4
Yeah.
steps that you take. So number 1 is identify what you're afraid of. So until you start identifying the needs, like I know that I have a need to be offended. I know I have a need to be right. Those are 2 of them. I'm not really an anxious person. I'm not a worrier, like those needs, but I get offended, resentful, guilty. I used to get angry, frustrated. Those are needs. So, but once I started practicing identifying them, then I became this ferocious Buddha. What do I mean by that? Most people, when they become aware of their ego, they resist it. They fight it. They go over it, under it, through it, around it, oversell it, back and sell it, lie to it, manipulate it, cheat it, but not me. I've learned the best thing to do is just stop. When I identify, I stop, I lower my vibration into the center. I lower to a higher vibration, to neutral. I breathe through my nose, out through my mouth. I get to center or neutral. Now, because I meditate in the morning, because I have an unwinding routine the night before that starts my day, I have a baseline that I seek and I roll in that direction, even though I have a need to be angry or frustrated at someone or guilty or resentful or right, whatever the feelings are that create that interference. I, number 1, practice identifying it. 2, I stop as quickly as I can. And 3, breathe through my nose, out through my mouth, go down to center. Then I roll in the right direction. If you can't remember what I'm saying, it's really easy. When you feel like your mind, your body, and soul are on fire, that means your ego's in play. When your mind, your body, and soul are on fire, your ego's in play. When you're on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
That's so good. And what I'm hearing you say is self-awareness. 1 is to be self-aware when you start to feel that you're on fire. But 2 is leading yourself. If you can't be aware and lead yourself well, then how are you supposed to get through your life and have an abundance life? I think that's what a lot of people miss.
And I think there's 4 values you can look at. The people that feel like they're missing that is 1, the most important and most powerful thing I can teach you is gratitude. To say thank you before you go to bed, thank you when you wake up. If you can do that for 30 straight days, it'll actually become a habit. It'll be into your neural pathways, become part of you. It'll start feeding your quantum memory, your personality traits, characteristics. But the actual facility or practice of gratitude is finding the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. See, I don't love to do anything. I've learned to love everything, right? I don't just naturally love to, do podcasts. I've learned to love to do the interviews. I've learned to love to work out. I've learned to love to, hang out and do what I do, whatever it is. I think too many people think that there's this magical why in the universe that they're going to find their passion, their purpose, and their profitability. Not me. I use gratitude to find the light, the love, and the lessons and learn to love what I do. The second one is forgiveness. Too many people don't forgive themselves. They beat the crap themselves and they create more interference and they don't feel worthy. They're afraid to ask, they're afraid to receive, and they don't forgive. Forgiveness is powerful. Not only does it bring peace to your life, but it brings certainty. And then accountability. Most people live in that liability. They live below the line. They create interferences, voids, and shortages by living with blame, shame, and justification. live above the line. Just ask yourself, what did I do to attract this to myself? And two, what am I supposed to learn from it? The minute you do these three things, gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability, you will move from a motivation state into an inspiration state, in spirit, in flow, allowing everything to come through you with abundance of more than enough for everyone, for everything, and provide that appreciation through those values.
Yeah, so good, man. And I think the forgiveness thing is so big, because I think when I actually read that if you're condemning yourself, if you're giving yourself a bad time, it actually closes off a piece of your brain, which allows you to learn and actually grow from it. And it's like wild.
Being defensive creates attacks. People that are defensive create attacks against themselves. There's an energetic universe that understands, how we create this flow. In the paradigm shift, it's very obvious to me that if you believe in abundance, if you believe that you are living your life between limitlessness and infinity, then you realize that anything that makes you feel like you're not limitless or infinite, it's interference. And those things that you're discussing are just interfering with the limitlessness and infinity. You have more power in your pinky, Austin, than all the power of Manhattan. So where's that power going? Well, you're not utilizing it in the most productive, accessible, and gracious way. You're interfering with what you've been given, what you're connected to and through. And if we can learn to utilize that power more effectively, we can do unbelievable things. And we've seen those unbelievable things be done.
Yeah. It's like the alignment. You got to have the alignment in all areas. If there's something off, then if that 1% can direct you way off course.
Yeah.
Cool, man. One thing that you also say that I want you to kind of allude to is the being made by your no's. And, you say like, I've heard a lot of no's and I don't let them affect me when I hear them because I've heard so many, but there's the flip side of putting boundaries up in ability to say no. I think what I hear, especially in my sphere and just people who I hang out with, it's like, I just feel like I'm a yes man and I'm saying yes to too many things. I'm stretched and I'm overwhelmed and I can't seem to get anything done because I'm just doing everything. What's the made by no? Like allude to the made by no's, because I think it's some good nuggets there.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have, just in case anyone wants, I have a full training on no.
Nice.
On being receiving no, being made by no. So if anyone wants, they can. It's featured everywhere. It's one of the top podcasts on Spotify, Entrepreneur, iTunes, Google, everywhere. But the idea of no is, number one, that I don't say no, right? When I say I'm made by the people I say no to, it means I'm not going to surround myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, and that I am made to say no to wasting energy, time, and emotion on closed-mindedness. So you remember, it takes 1,000 times the energy to convince a closed mind than it does an open mind. And so when we receive 3 objections of any sort, universal objection or an articulated no, we should understand that there's better and more open opportunities within the context of what we're trying to share. And so for me, if I'm, calling someone and they didn't answer, that's 1 no. If I was calling them and I forgot to call them, that would be 2 no's. If I call them and tell me we need to reschedule, that's 3 no's. So after 3 no's, I go ahead and let them know that obviously it's not the right time, value, or emotion. I need to attend to people that are available and have open minds. If you'd like to do business with me, just give me a call back. I'm more than open to, but if not, I appreciate your opportunity and your consideration. Half the people call me right back. So what I've done with those apps is I've compelled them to call me back. I've sped up what I already call a yes. That person that calls me back was going to say yes anyway. It just sped up the process. Where it gets interesting is I think the real value comes from the people that don't call me back ever. Because I think about in the past, how much time, emotion, energy, and money I wasted chasing a closed mind. And herefore now, after 3 no's of any type, I go ahead and articulate that I am walking away from the opportunity, and I allow those who want to do business with me to accelerate, and those that never were going to do business with me fall away. So you're made by those people that you say no to and are willing to walk away from. I also have a philosophy about the universe telling me no. So that's a situation of person to person, peer to peer, consumer to business, or business to business no's. But in the universal sense, I always tell myself I'm only 25 no's from getting what I want. So, if I'm trying to, sell a property or my book, to a publisher or a movie, when I get to the 10th no, I get excited. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm almost there. Every single no to me, when I'm asking, not dealing, every no to me in that context is getting me closer to what I want. So everything I think about is within the realm of this. I'm always happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
Always. I'm at the right place at the perfect time. And too many people don't take the time to be happy where they're at. They're always looking for something else, attaching their emotions to an outcome. They're not happy where they're at. And then I use that enjoyment of where I'm at to consistently, every day, persistently, without quit, pursue my potential of something, a job, school, millions, whatever it may be. But most importantly, beyond that pursuit and angling towards what I want, you see, because if I don't get what I want along the way, pain or problems, whatever occur, it's just to me an indicator that I have something to learn. It's not a stop sign.
Yeah.
So I get very excited about pain because it's just an indicator or a turn signal, not a stop sign. It's pushing me to something better. And that's the third thing that I believe in. I believe the law of gravity says I'm happy where I'm at, right here on my feet. The law of Goya, get off your ass, enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. That creates the law of attraction, which requires faith that you're going to end up attracting something better.
Yeah, come on. Looking at the nose as a step in the right direction, and it's really a step up. And I always say, like, the vision is like a windy road. It's not a straight road. There's rest areas. You're gonna need a flat tire. You need to refuel up and all that stuff. One thing. So we have a marketing agency here in Bellevue, Washington. We're about 16 people, 16 employees, and we've just grown so much over the last year. And it's been interesting, and I know you're in sales, it's been interesting to see the dynamic of sales shift. And I know you teach a lot on this, and you're good at sales and what you do on that. And what have you seen, or what are you coaching when it comes to the sales aspect in this new normal of COVID, or whatever you want to now call it, relative to maybe a 5-year ago approach?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is the size, scope, and scale of the audience. And so in the past, 5 years ago, you were limited to, the sales audience that you could have, or it would have a higher barrier of entry. Now, with no barrier to entry, you have access to 4.6 billion people with extreme specificity, as you know, in the marketing context of who you want to reach. But the point that people don't even realize, beyond the obvious of the size, scope, and scale, and the specificity of how you can market to a lookalike audience or a certain demographic, because data is so available and so accurate. What they really don't get is what I call the ask of itself in the size of the audience of sponsorship and power sponsorship. What do I mean by that? Most people have a perception that everybody's a gatekeeper. And that's because, in a traditional sense, and you probably know this when you started your career, you would call and there'd be a secretary or an assistant that was known as a gatekeeper. And they may have been, right? They may have been hired to keep you out. Well, there are no gatekeepers today anymore because of the way that we're connected. Because of the way we're connected via social media, traditional media, the accessibility of everyone, instead of you or me only having 4 or 5 people in our circle of spheres of influence that could help, our golf game, our church group, our tennis group, whatever it may be, on average, almost everyone has about 1,000 people in their network on average. Yeah. And all of those people are accessible to ask for help. So I think the biggest change in sales is that instead of having to teach people how to go over, under, through, around a gatekeeper, it's how to ask Do you know anyone that can help me with a sponsor or a power sponsor? Meaning,
Yeah.
I see everyone now. Very few gatekeepers are around. Even if there are, you can get around them easily to somebody else. So I'll only see a huge opportunity because there's sponsors, people who can help you or know someone that can help you, right? And a power sponsor is someone that can help you make a decision and find someone that can help you. But if you're, think about it, on average, if everyone has 1,000 people in their network, if you ask every day, a person in person, one person on the phone, one person via email, and one via social media, do you know anyone that could help me? That's 4,000 people a day. That's
Totally.
120,000 people in your network. And you and I both know 5 years ago, the expense of reaching 120,000 people with a piece of advertisement or content or exposure or awareness was extremely expensive. Today is free.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's just been interesting because our business has just grown so much because of it. And it's been interesting to see the older generation adapt to the new wave of marketing. And, we're just grateful to be positioned to be in service of them. We're running out of time. We have 3 minutes. I just want to know if there's anything that I can do to help you out. Jake's been awesome, by the way. You have an amazing team. It sounds like. I love what you're doing with your brand and with your content. One thing that we didn't hit on, which I really appreciate, is generosity, living open-handedly. So 1, I want to see if there's anything I can do for you, and 2, just honor you and your team for setting this up, and want to just share that your team is awesome. And
Well,
I'm sure you know it.
If they can reach out to me, my email address is david@dmeltzer.com or @davidmeltzer, or Google David Meltzer. If you can reach out to me, I have free books, free training, free guides. I pay for shipping. I have free trainings for over 20 years. Come to those. All of these things, please. My mission in life is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. I'm looking for 1,000 people like Austin that I know in his lifetime will empower 1,000 to empower 1,000, which will create 1 billion people, a collective consciousness of abundance. So if more people that'll reach out to me so I can get them whatever they need for free, david@dmeltzer.com. Come to my trainings, listen to the podcast. They're all free. I don't advertise on them. They're the best in the world because they have quality content that will change your life. So if you enjoyed that, most importantly, because I do have to jump, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thanks so much, Austin. I appreciate the opportunity.
Cool, man. Appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Dude, you're the man. Appreciate it. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening to the Rise podcast. Please do me a favor and subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. Share it with a friend if you think it was valuable, and also give it a thumbs up. If you want more content, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Austin R. Schneider, where I'll be dropping snippets of this and other type of content. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel and be on the lookout for weekly podcast episodes just like this one. Thanks, everyone.